the language that describes the world, that is the chemistry language. Everything is made out of atoms that come together and form the molecules that reorganize and eventually becomes living beings. So chemistry is really everything around us, our materials, our medications, our bodies. When we sleep, it's chemistry. When we are hungry, it's chemistry. So sensations and even thoughts and emotions are all about chemistry. This is why we need to understand this chemistry. It's actually very simple because there's only 4 components. And we need to teach our children very early on about this because chemistry is so important for the society, for our production, for our understanding of our resources, for global warming and the climate changes and so on. I was very fortunate. My grandparents have a farm, a small island in Bornholm, and there I was out playing in the forests, on the beaches and so on, every day when I was there. And this created actually a want to understand the evolution and the evolutionary principles that led to this sort of harmony that I could see every day in this wonderful nature place. Later on, when I was 16, I ventured out to a small company that sold all sorts of chemicals and bought what you would consider today to be explosives. I took them back in my parents' basement and started mixing them up. We had a lot of fun with that. Beautiful, beautiful fireworks. But eventually I made something that exploded in the backyard of my parents' house, and they actually sort of stopped the exercise at that point. But it created a lot of interest in me for understanding the chemistry, how it works, the reactions, the kinetics, and why is it that chemistry actually happens. Getting a Nobel Prize is a really life-changing event. And on the day they call you, you are not allowed to talk with anybody for an hour before they announce it publicly. And that's probably the hardest time of my life, this 1 hour where I couldn't talk with anybody. I immediately thought, this is fantastic. And then I thought, wow, there goes my life. Because I had a very nice life at the time. At the end of the hour, I called my wife. She messaged me back, I can't talk with you now. So I called my son, and he came in with the worst cake as a gift for celebration. He came in with the worst cake you can possibly think of, bought at the tank gas station nearby. That changed the life completely. There was news outlets from all over the world who wanted interviews every day in the next couple of months. And then we had the trip to Sweden. And this is where you meet the royalty of Sweden and you get your medal. And I have truly enjoyed it. I'm very much sharing this with my wife. She is also a chemist, and we enjoy talking chemistry all the time. And she is traveling around with me. But I still keep this working in the lab as a very important issue for me. So I'm still actually working in the lab and working together with the students, because that's important. This is what it looks like, and the next one will look exactly the same. So I don't think I need another one. I'm very happy with the one I have. So I actually work still in the laboratory, and I work in the laboratory because I think it's fun. I'm not driven by ambition, I'm not driven by another Nobel Prize. I'm driven because I like to investigate chemistry. I like the understanding of the world that we are living in. Humor is very important in my laboratory. Personally, I think humor is a fantastic driver, a driver of understanding, a driver of accept, a driver of curiosity even. If you go to an academic career, there are two things that are important. You should jump out of your comfort zone all the time. And the other thing is that you should study all your life. It's never finished. For me, academia is fun. It is a playground where you are asking questions just like you were when you were a child. Ask the questions and then you try to find the answers. And if you are a successful academician. As a society, you are enriched by education in a manner that nothing else can do. So I think that education is very important, and also I think that we should have a paradigm shift where we sort of see calculus, reading and writing as just one way of educating people, but we should actually use visualizations, that is videos, VRs, AI, much more in education, and use the visualization for teaching physics and chemistry, in particular chemistry, because chemistry is a three-dimensional world which you can dive into with animations, and you can give a realistic picture today of how the atoms, how the molecules behave, and the children don't have to understand it, they just have to see it again and again, and eventually they will be able to navigate that world just as well as they navigate this world here. Because if you consider a child coming out, being born, this child has no language. It learns about the world by storing images again and again and again, and eventually they connect all these images into a mirror of the outside world that help them navigate the outside world. And it's exactly the same you want them to do with chemistry. And this ability to store pictures is extremely strong in first grade, second grade, and third grade, and so on. But it disappears when they hit the puberty. So it's very important to take this opportunity early on and teach them chemistry just like they learn languages. In a few months, they will be able to learn the chemistry language in the same way. For example, if I have an interview with a PhD student, one of the questions I ask is that they should imagine a cow. They get 30 seconds to imagine a cow in a field under an apple tree. And then I ask them to describe this for me. And depending on how far their associations, their imagination, their ability to see and feel the cow in their mind, I actually give them a big plus for that. Because the chemistry is as I say, a three-dimensional world. And if you cannot visualize it, you cannot use it for anything. So rules is not enough when you have to learn chemistry. You have to be able to visualize it. I think that there's a lot of similarities between arts and science. Arts is very often the three-dimensional experience that you try to give the spectator. And it's the same in science, actually. You have to understand the chemistry in 3 dimensions. So the molecules interact with each other in 3 dimensions like a soup. And you don't get the reaction unless the exact orientation of the molecules is in place and that the electrons can transfer and so on. And imagining this is exactly the same as imagining something you want to paint on a canvas. All of these things, you have to be able to imagine them if you want to do science. The academia has always been a thorn in the eye of the autocrats, because academia is where new ideas, where changes are actually initiated. And academia is extremely important for this process. So that's why you see autocrats around the world actually limiting the freedom that the academia is based on, which leads to these discoveries that then change the world eventually. This pushback against academia is going to lead to less and less educated people in the general public, which is going to lead to less and less informed decision by the individuals in the community, which is going to lead to more and more autocracy. So it's important that academia is given this freedom and that academia is promoting the teaching of academic disciplines throughout the school system. This should be based on science, mainly, in my opinion, because science is the only true description of the world. I find that there are two things that we can do. The one thing is this visualization of the scientific world, educating the kids from the very start without teaching them rules, just showing them what it looks like. And the other thing that we can do is release all the knowledge that we have created under the last 150 years, which is buried in archives in the publishers, and give that to AI so we get an AI that is truly informed and can make decisions.